Hey guys, Big Rat 310s here again, back with another edition of All Sides of the Wrestling World. Let me say before I get into this, I don't know, I haven't seen the length of the video yet. I just clicked record right now and I'm 16 seconds in. But this will probably be pretty long. I mean, I have a lot of crap to cover in this one. Part of the reason why I haven't done one in like 2 weeks is because I was saving it all for this one. Notice the last one I covered one TNA pay-per-view. This one I'm covering another TNA pay-per-view. And I'm not going to be doing another one for a while. It's just that, it's for the simple reason that there's nothing to watch. I mean, I can sacrifice, I guess. Ring of Honor, they usually, here's the deal with Ring of Honor. Usually when two shows come out on DVD, they'll tell you like 3 weeks before about the pre-sale. Like they'll say, coming out in 3 weeks is Ring of Honor World's Greatest. Pre-order now. 3 weeks before it comes out. And they haven't even announced the pre-order yet. They haven't even announced the fucking pre-order yet. So I guarantee you Defy or Deny and Manhattan Mayhem 4, those their two most recent shows before the Atlanta shows. Those shows, I'm not going to have those shows for a good month and a half, maybe more. Ring of Honor tends to release their DVDs exactly 2 months from when the show happens. So we'll see what happens there. And it's just nothing else is happening for PWG. They're so unreliable. You'll never know when DDT4 is going to come out. Evolve just had Evolve 7. The Chikara just had King of Trios. CCW just had Best of the Best. There was a show the day after Best of the Best, but I don't expect that one to come out for a month and a half. So really, there's nothing to watch. I mean, I'll be occupied. I'll be watching old Ring of Honor DVDs that I've backed up, like from like 2005. I'll get a start on that, but I'm just letting you know there's nothing new, so I might not have another one of these for a while. I will start reviewing WCW pay-per-views again now that I got Spring Stampede. I was waiting to get Spring Stampede 1997 because I kind of wanted to go in order. So I'm going to do Sold Out 97, which I heard sucks, but I do have that as well. And Spring Stampede, I'll get to that. And then, then I'll continue on from there. Just letting you know they're not going to do another one of these for a while because there's just nothing to watch. All right, but let's get to this one. Like I said, I'm pretty sure this one will be pretty long. I haven't seen it yet. I'll try to keep it under 35 minutes. When I get to 35 minutes, that's when I'll try to cut this thing off. But we'll see what happens. First, let's start off with the show that I literally just watched. Like I spent the last 2.5 hours watching it. TNA Lockdown. Actually, I guess I started it last night, but TNA Lockdown 2011. This show was good, actually. It's exactly like TLC, almost exactly, from last year. There's two great matches, and then there's nothing else. At least TLC had one 3-star match, which in my opinion was the main event. But it's two great matches and a bunch of less than 3-star matches, which is exactly how TLC was. I gave TLC a 7.25. I'm going to give this a 7 just because this one was harder to sit through and this one doesn't have that third, at least, quote-unquote, good match. So I think a 7 is fair here. I still thought Against All Odds was the best show they've had because that show didn't really have anything great, but from top to bottom, it was just pretty solid. Like, every match on that show, it's like half of them are good. There's some that are not good but still enjoyable. There's some that weren't good matches but were good storyline development. So I like Against All Odds a little more. But this one wasn't bad, though. This was definitely one of the better TNA pay-per-views. Still not as good as last year's Lockdown, which was like, last year's Lockdown was like the best TNA show. The best TNA show since in 2010 and 2011 was TNA Lockdown last year. That show wasn't even a great show. It was very good, but it wasn't even great, which just shows you how far off TNA has fallen. I don't want to talk too much about the show, though. The X Division opener I thought actually wasn't good. I mean, usually the Xscape match is a guaranteed very fun opener. I didn't really like this match. I thought it was very clunky. And when I heard people saying, this match was going along great, but then Jay Lethal, Amazing Red, and Chris Sabin got eliminated. And they were the 3 best workers in the match because Suicide's Christopher Daniels, he has to work the main event. So I can understand him being out early. Everyone was saying, oh, Jay Lethal, Chris Sabin, Amazing Red, they rocked the house. Then they were eliminated and the match kind of fell off. Well, to me, Jay Lethal, Chris Sabin, Amazing Red didn't even rock the house. No disrespect to those guys. Those 3 guys are great wrestlers. But to me, they didn't even do anything that amazing. They, to me, were just like, all right. I really don't like it that the Xscape match has tags, and there's way too many people in the match too. I think if you want my opinion, the Xscape match should be 6-man, no tags, everybody in the ring, and then it's a lot better. Like, a lot better. This 8 guys, everybody has to tag in. That system doesn't work. This match, I didn't enjoy it. To me, it was just a bunch of singles matches, which were very short, weren't given much time, until, like, the last 3. And the ending, I thought was just all right. I mean, it didn't really make sense to me. I didn't like the match that much. Next match I thought was fine. Don't want to talk about it that much. 4-way tag. I thought it was just okay. It was whatever. Moving on. Mickie James versus Madison Rayne. I gave this an NA because it was only 35 seconds. But TNA, like I said in my thing, but TNA is still fucking stupid. I understand that you've been building Mickie James for months and months. But I don't know why you would even have her wrestle like this way. I think, in my personal opinion, like, you know, there's a better way to do it. I think you should have, because the thing is, it's not like Mickie James got injured the day before the show. Mickie James was well injured a good 2 to 3 weeks before this pay-per-view. In my opinion, advertising this match and having it go the way it did doesn't work. I think they could have done it in a much better way, because it's not like I wanted to see this match, but this feud has been building on for months. I'm pretty sure there were some people who really wanted to see this. And doing it the way they did, I don't know. I thought they could have come up with something better. Like I said, they had enough time to do it. Putting Mickie James in a match, even though you could tell she wasn't ready to work, not good. Delay the title change for a month if you have to, but this was not good. This was not good to your customers. Samoa Joe versus the Pope. This was all right. Not a big fan of Joe and Pope. I don't think they. I love Joe and I love Pope, but I just don't think these guys have great chemistry. I saw their match at, what was it? Was it Against All Odds? It was either Against All Odds or Victory Road. I can't remember. And I said to myself, you know what? Yes, the booking sucks, but these guys don't have good chemistry. Like, they had like an 8-minute match. Like, this was before the booking got in the way. And the match was just there. In my opinion, these guys just really don't have that great chemistry together. I haven't really enjoyed any of their stuff. I mean, I thought this was fine. They did a lot of high spots. That was enough to make the match average, but still, in my opinion, not that good. I'm kind of glad the shoot is over. And it's just one of those things that, hey, you know what? That's how it is. It's like Taker and Vader in 97. I've seen Juice and Trussler talk a lot about this. And I've seen both their matches. Both those guys were great. However, their matches, their Royal Rumble match in particular, wasn't that good. And it's neither their fault. They just didn't have chemistry. And this isn't Joe or Pope's fault. They just don't have chemistry. I don't blame them. I was excited when the feud happened because I'm a big fan of both, but this just didn't work. I'm sorry. Then we got Matt Morgan and Hernandez. This was all right. I'm really sick and tired of Matt Morgan and Hernandez matches. I saw it last year and I didn't like it. I saw it this year and I didn't like it. I don't know. I don't really care, but still, these guys, I'm kind of tired of seeing them in the ring already. But this match I thought was all right. I didn't think it was that bad. I actually thought their cage match last year was a little better, even though their cage match last year had a shittier booking. But this is just short, sweet. It's over with. Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing Matt Morgan as TNA champion. I really wouldn't. I know people aren't high on him, but whatever. Kurt Angle, Jeff Jarrett, Ultra Male Rules, 2 out of 3 Falls match. This was great. I really, really enjoyed this. Didn't think it was as good as Angle Anderson, or as Angle put on his Twitter, Angle versus Michaels, which he said this was on par with that match. But this was still a great match. I really enjoyed it. I wanted to give it 4 1/4, but there's just some problems I had with the match. Mainly with the referee counting the pinfalls in the submission match. To me, that's a big deal, because that really is a sign of stupidity. Like the bell ringing, like Dave Meltzer's complaining they didn't ring the bell between falls. Yeah, but you had Jeremy Borash announce after each fall the new fall was beginning. So to me, it didn't really matter that they didn't ring the bells, because you had Jeremy Borash saying, this fall's over, this new fall's starting. So that to me wasn't a problem. Even the botches, like Trademark I heard was complaining about the botch moonsault and the botch powerbomb. Those 2 spots were so high risk, high reward, and it was gutsy enough for Kurt Angle and balls enough to even take those spots that I'm more than willing to forgive him fucking up on both of them. Even the first one, I don't really blame him. I blame that more on Jarrett. But yeah, whatever. This, to me, wasn't that big of a deal. I still thought the match was great. I liked the interference from Gunner and from Karen. My one problem was it makes Kurt Angle look really stupid when he was about to walk out of the cage, sees the guy hurt, goes in, does more damage, and then when he goes to walk out the cage again and he can't open the door and he's pissed, I'm like, well, you're the fucking idiot. You could have left this match 5 minutes earlier. But no, you decided to stay. At least with Anderson. Like, Anderson was flipping him off. He had to come back, show him, and then when he wanted to leave again, he just left. In this one, he was, like, legitimately upset that he couldn't leave the cage. And it's just like, well, what do you expect? You should have done this 5 minutes earlier. Why couldn't he walk out of the cage, win the match, and then just go back in and kick his ass some more? Why do you not have to... Is there a rule that you can't beat someone up once the match is over? Because I'm pretty sure it's non-existent in pro wrestling. So I didn't like that. I really didn't like that, actually, because while the story they had of Kurt Angle trying to escape and Gunner with the chair and Karen, like, preventing him from, that was good. But since you had him trying to... He had the opportunity to leave earlier. Like, I can't really feel sympathy for him. Like, it's your own damn fault. I mean... You brought this upon yourself. So with that, I had to knock it down to 4. But it still was a great match. My TNA match of the year. Really good stuff. Great job from both guys. Sting, RVD, Mr. Anderson. Worst match on the show, in my opinion, actually. It was very short. And to me, it kind of also felt like not as much of a slap in the face as Sting, Hardy. But I still thought, you know, after which we just saw at Victory Road, after we just saw a fucking 1-minute world title match, I thought TNA should have made it up to their fans by giving them not necessarily a good world title match, but at least a long one. But this one, you only give 7 minutes for a world title match after the month. If this was any other pay-per-view, if this was, like, first off, that it's Lockdown and their world title match is that short, that's unacceptable. But if this was any other pay-per-view, I'd be upset, but I'd be a little more forgiving. But the fact that the month before you had a 1-minute world title match, and then you do this... The match itself wasn't that bad. The match itself was all right. I knocked out a lot of points, though, because that really did anger me. Nothing in TNA really angers me these days, but that did bother me, because I was just like, really? Then we got the Lethal Lockdown match. I thought this was also great. I was thinking about this. This would be the match that if you get one of the IWC guys to book, if you get one of the IWC guys in March, one of the smarter ones, and you say, hey, book a feud for us for a Lockdown, for your Lethal Lockdown match. I think this is how we would do it. If we were stuck within the circumstances of AJ being injured and we had to do Fortune versus Immortal, for Immortal, you pick the 3 best workers in that group, which is Bully Ray, Abyss, and Matt Hardy. You get Ric Flair in there instead of putting Rob, Terry, Gunner, or Murphy. You get Ric Flair in there, not Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair. And if you had to pick the Fortune guys, you pick the tag champs, the X Division champ, and then you pick the returning Christopher Daniels to TNA. I think that's how an intellectual, smart person would do it. And this match was great. I mean, the heels had the advantage, unlike last year when the faces had the advantage, which was fucking retarded. The heels had the advantage, and then, you know, the faces made their comeback. They had that high spot with Daniels flying off the cage. They had the great ending. You know, they're working over Ric Flair's... Beer Money was destroying Ric Flair the whole match, and they're the ones that finally finish him off. AJ Styles made his return when Bully Ray attacked Daniels. So many, like, little things combined to make this match a great match, in my opinion. Not as good as Angle Jarrett, but still a great match. So I give the whole show a 7. There's 2 great matches. Literally nothing else on the show, but TLC was exactly the same. TLC was a 2-match show with a 3-star main event, so whatever. 7 out of 10. Not as good as Against the Odds, in my opinion, but still good. That took too long. World's Greatest. This was a really good Ring of Honor show. I think people are actually kind of underrating this. I should probably stop drinking in the middle of my sentences. I thought this was a really good show. A lot of fun, a lot of good matches. Good stuff. First, we start with one of the best Ring of Honor openers in a while. This was before Kings of Wrestling, Cole and O'Reilly. Jay Briscoe versus Kyle O'Reilly. This was really fun, really fast-paced, really athletic. Got the crowd off to a good start. I will say the miking of the show was kind of shitty. Like, it really felt like 2007 level, where all you hear is this... It wasn't very good, the miking of this show. But Jay Briscoe, Kyle O'Reilly had a really fun opener, really enjoyable, got the crowd into it, good stuff. Bravado Brothers, Chief Carino, Grizzly Rowan, perfectly fine with this match. It was just there, nothing much, but fine. Mark Briscoe versus Prodigy Mike Bennett, again, kind of just there, but I like that Mike Bennett was starting to fight more higher level guys. Like, you know, he's not just fighting Grizzly Redwood and Bobby Dempsey and Steve Carino, he's actually fighting actual talent. And I love Adam Cole. And not to say Mark Briscoe is better than Adam Cole, because he isn't. But, you know, Mark Briscoe is part of the Briscoes, and they're one of the biggest teams. They're probably the biggest team in Ring of Honor history, one of the biggest in Ring of Honor at the moment. So I like, you know, Mike Bennett, the elevation there. So it was fine, though, whatever. Four corner survival match. I thought it was a good match. Enjoyable. Fun. Not much to it. Your basic four corner survival. Moving on. Christopher Daniels, Michael Logan. I also thought this was enjoyable. Pretty good. Daniels had a nice comeback. Kind of very similar to their Night 2 match. I kind of like this match a little better, actually. But, yeah, that's it. Homicide El Jericho. Did not like this match. This match wasn't very good. It was average. I would give it 2 3/4 stars. I just thought the crowd was kind of dead. I personally really didn't care for it. And Homicide, he should have done better. I think after this weekend, when he put on subpar matches with Homicide, with Roderick Strong and El Generico, 2 of the best workers in the company, I think Ring of Honor kind of went to him and said, hey, you better up or else you're in trouble. And I think he did, based on reviews of his performance at Defy or Deny, at his performance with Hernandez at Manhattan Mayhem 4, of his performances over the Atlanta weekends. I think he took their words to heart. Eddie Edwards versus Kenny King. This was a really fun match. This was kind of like, here's your future, go. And I thought that's exactly what the match should have been, and that's exactly what it was. It's like, here's the future of Ring of Honor, enjoy. And yeah, this is the best Kenny King singles match I've seen in a while, possibly ever. I guess I like the Tyler Black match a lot too. This was really enjoyable. I really enjoyed the match, really good stuff, and yeah, props to both guys. They put on a great showing. And the main event was a great match. Roddy and the Kings versus Dave Richard Wrestling Tag Team. Great tag team. My only problem with this, I don't go that much into depth with psychology on these when I'm talking about these shows, unless the psychology really is either really amazing or really shitty. And I'm not gonna say it was really shitty in this match, but it was pretty shitty. I think there were 5 hot tags, which I thought was just ridiculous. You'd have 5 babyfaces in peril. I think Davey Richards played babyface in peril twice. To me, it was kind of too much. It wasn't like World's Greatest Tag Team. I mean, it wasn't like the Wolves versus Kings of Wrestling where it was too much and just they went too long and there was just too many spots. It was too much. This was more like you didn't have to put that much emotion behind each tag. But I still thought the match was great because I still thought they did it good enough. And if you take away the first 3 hot tags, the match was a great WWE 6-man tag. So I don't have a problem with this match. I gave it 4 stars. That was a great match. Overall, the show was a house show. It was a really, really good show. Don't get me wrong. And this is what I like to see from Ring of Honor, where the house show, where the basic house shows that don't get this didn't have much storyline development at all. I think the biggest thing was Christopher Daniels stealing the Book of Truth. That was literally it. Nothing else. Nothing throughout the entire show for storyline development. This was a WWE house show where you don't really expect to get much out of it. But it was a really good show, and I think Ring of Honor, for their quote-unquote pointless shows, should put on more shows like this. Really good shows that maybe are not worth the full price, but definitely on a sale, definitely should go out of your way to see it. It definitely is worth owning, because I thought it was a really good show. World's Greatest. Then we got to Kurt Russell Reunion 2. I think people are kind of underrating this show. I think this is one of the best shows of the year. I love Sanders, but in his review, it's he's giving the matches the same rating that everybody else is giving, and he's praising the show just as much, but his overall score was a point lower. And hey, that's Sanders' rating. I don't want to criticize Sanders. Sanders is one of my closest friends on here. I'm just saying, for me, I look at these star ratings, and I'm like, holy shit, this is one of the best shows of the year. And I thought the show was awesome because of it. I gave it a 9 out of 10. Every match is at least good except one, which we will get into. I kind of want to talk about this show, so I might cut some time off the next few DVDs. But Willie Mack, the opener was, I've said this a million times, the opener was a basic PWG opener. It's the basic PWG opener. It usually is a 6 or 8 man tag. It usually is 3 through 3 1/4 stars. It's usually a lot of fun. And usually it has the same fucking talent, like Peter Avalon, like Cedric Alexander, not Cedric, Brandon Gatson a little more. Willie Mack, yes, Willie Mack, Peter Avalon, Candice LeRae. Same guys every month, but it works. They have a good system. So, Mr. Aguilar, Rey Bucanero, a good lucha match. Not really much to it. It was very short, but I enjoyed it. Shane Helms versus Joey Ryan. This, in my opinion, is the worst match of the year. And that's with Cole, Jerry Lawler in mind. I fucking hated this match. I hated everything about it because Joey Ryan was heel and Shane Helms was hated. I'm not even going to say he was heel. He was hated. And he was also the babyface in peril in this match. Shane Helms did himself no favors, all right? When the crowd is booing the shit out of you, try to get them on your side, Put over PWG. Say, hey, man, I know I said some stuff in the past, but let's get past that. Try to do yourself some favors. He did not do himself favors. And it's not like he turned heel. He turned heel at the end. But in the beginning of this match, he was not trying to turn heel. He was just like mocking Shawn Michaels. He mocked the suck it sign because they were all bullying him because of his stuff about Shawn Michaels. He mocked doing the super kick. And then he tries to be a babyface. And come on! Go one way or the other, preferably babyface. But he did himself no favors, and the match suffered because of it. And I didn't even think that match was that good, like, without the crowd heat, because the crowd fucking hated this man, and they hated Joey Ryan, and the match went on way too long. Even without that in mind, the actual match itself, I didn't think was very good at all. Like, without any of that, I would give the match 2 stars. But with all that in mind, I'm knocking this down a full star. It just left me with such a bad taste in my mouth. Shane Helms comes into PWG and does that. And I don't have a problem with these Shane Helms if in the 1 in a million chances that you're actually watching this YouTube video by Big Red 310. But you did yourself no favors, and you really hurt the show in my opinion. This show would guarantee be a 9.2595, but when you have that shitty of a match on it, it has to be knocked down. I was just really angry after I saw this match. I was like, what the fuck, man? And I never really get angry at, well, I don't really get angry at WWE TNA. I'll get occasionally like, what the fuck, pissed off for like all of 5 seconds. But this shit made me mad. And yeah, next we get the match of the night, in my opinion, Low Ki versus Davey Richards. This match was fucking great, like great. And the psychology in this match was really good. Yes, I'm gonna talk about psychology for this one. When Davey Richards is the babyface in peril, doesn't do that good of a job. I love the guy. He's probably my 4th favorite wrestler in the world. Bryan Danielson, Mike Quackenbush, Kenta, then Davey Richards. And my favorite in Ring of Honor. And I love Davey. I actually have a Davey Richards shirt, which is one of the only wrestling shirts I have. Actually, I'll tell you all of them. Davey Richards, the Briscoes, Kenny Omega, which I never wear, Daniel Bryan, and Sin Cara. But I love Davey Richards, but when he's babyface in peril, doesn't do that good of a job. He doesn't sell well. We all know it. He does not sell well. Now, there are a lot of times where he puts on such an amazing performance, we're willing to look past it. But there has been matches in the past where I've seen his lack of selling, and it's just really bothered me. And he sometimes, his lack of selling does become a problem. Now, when Davey Richards is the heel and he's working over the guy, he does an amazing job. He targets the body part every time. He knows what he's doing. He does an incredible job. And Low Ki was a great babyface in peril here. And the kicks that Low Ki were using at the end to combat Davey, and Davey would fire back with more kicks, and they were working on each other's legs. It was pretty sick. I thought this match was great. One of the best psychologically sound Davey Richards matches in a while. Most likely because he wasn't playing the babyface in peril. But it was still a great match. I really enjoyed it. Just a lot of fun, a lot of great action, and well worth it. 4.25 stars. My match of the night. Definitely go out of your way to see that match. Great job by both men. The Jake Roberts retirement, this was just a segment. I mean, come on. The Jake Roberts threw a few punches. He didn't even do much. And I didn't expect him to do much. But you can't criticize this match. Next we get the Legends Battle Royal. I really like this match. Now, I know a lot of people were really bothered by the fact that all the Legends music had to be covered by the PWG theme song. To me, that was a problem. That's why I knocked it down from 3.5 to 3.25. But I thought the last 10 minutes of this match, when there was 5 guys in the ring and they were trying to throw each other out, I thought it was so entertaining. And it's because I love the Royal Rumble, and that part of the match of the Royal Rumble is awesome. But I just really enjoyed myself during these last 10 minutes. And the Terry Funk angle was just tremendous. I really liked that. I know some people who've hated this. I really enjoyed it. So I'm giving it 3.25. I don't care what you guys say. Chris Hero, Kevin Steen. A great match, but a little disappointing. I've read some reports that said this was the match of the night. I even read one report that said this was after seeing DDT 4 and winning. One PWG fan said this was the PWG match of the year after being at all 3 of those shows. So I was kind of disappointed when I saw it, but it was still a great match. Who am I to complain? Instead of a 4.5 star match or even a 4.25 star match, I got a 4 star match. Oh, what a bad situation. No, it was a great match. I personally liked Kevin Steen's match with Tozawa a little more, but this was still great. It's exactly what you'd expect it to be. Not much to talk about. Then we got the Young Bucks versus the Color Brothers versus the Fighting Taylor Boys versus the Rock NES Monsters. This was fine, but I don't know. This was actually pretty good, but I guess on the show kind of falls off a little bit. But I don't know. I just had some problems with it. I just thought it kind of at times felt a little bit clusterfuckish at times, but it was still a really good match. So I'm not going to say much more about it. Claudio Castagnoli versus El Generico. The tag match was really good. I'm not going to bitch. Clark is going versus El Generico. This was great. This was also very psychologically sound. El Generico sold very, very well in this match. Like, very well. It was used very much in the finish, and the finish was great, too, because I never see Claudio win a match like that. Obviously, for those of you who don't know, Claudio won. I mean, I thought that's to be expected. But, yeah, the way he put off El Generico was great. I don't want to spoil that. I just thought the psychology, El Generico sold well throughout the entire match. And even if he did a big move that, like, you wouldn't think someone who was selling that body part would do, he would do it, and then he would immediately, like, hold that body part in agony, like, oh, fuck, I shouldn't have done that. That shit really hurt. Like, you know, it really added a lot to the match for me. Because before, without his great psychology, without El Generico's great sign, this match would be like 3 3/4. But with him bumping it up to 4, I actually thought it was the second best match of the night because I thought he did that good of a job. So yeah, the whole show I'd give a 9. Well, there's 3 awesome matches, and every match is at least good besides one that's fucking horrible. But yeah, 9 out of 10. Definitely an awesome show. I'd probably put this I'd probably put this behind Honor Takes Center Stage. I have King of Trios Night 3 as number 1. Best of the Best is number 2. Honor Takes Center Stage number 3. And then I'd have this at number 4. But this is an amazing year for wrestling shows. I mean, not for matches necessarily, but for shows. Look at I still have my top 10 shows of 2010 on my channel. If you look, the overall ratings for my top 10 shows of 2011, my top 10 shows of 2010, they're about the same. And we're only 4 months into the year. DDT 4 most likely will be on my top 10 this year as well. So I think this is just an amazing year for wrestling shows. I've never seen this many amount of awesome shows in 1 year already. All right. So after Kurt Russell Reunion, we get Evolve 7. I saw the show yesterday. I actually ordered the show. And I thought the show was pretty sick. I really enjoyed it. I thought this was a very fun show. Jimmy Jacobs, Shima Zion was a short opener, not much to it. Sasha and Tony Nese was a short second match, but that match was enjoyable. John Gargano, John Davis, this was good. I like this. LV made a good point. They structured the match in a way that you cared about what each move that was done. Every move meant something because of the way the match was organized. And that's always a positive. I thought the way John Davis used his power and John Gargano used his speed, they combined really well to get a really good match. If the match went a little longer, I would have enjoyed this a lot more. Jigsaw and Frymer versus Vasai and Jason Gory, kind of a spotty match. But I said this before and I've said this again. If the point of good psychology is to get the crowd into it, and if the crowd loves what's going on in the ring in the spot fest, don't they both accomplish the same thing? I mean, I've said this 1,000 times. My favorite matches are those that have great psychology, but I can appreciate a good spot fest when I see one. And in this match, it was very spotty, but the crowd really liked it. So who am I to criticize it when I myself personally enjoyed it as well? That's the point I'm trying to make, AMCN1. I'll respond to I'll make my video response to you actually once this video is over in a few days. Sami Callihan, Zack Sabre Jr. This was a really good match. Kind of disappointed by it though. Not just Sanders, but I've seen a lot of people. Like I saw one guy said this was one of the best Evolve matches of all time, and in my opinion, wasn't anywhere near that. It was really good. I just thought I needed to go a little longer. Zack Sabre Jr. proved in this match that he's probably the most versatile wrestler in wrestling today because he's one of the best high flyers. He's one of the best submission wrestlers, and he's one of the best strikers. Like, top 3 in each category right now. So, really, this guy maybe should get a little more credit than he deserves. And he and Sammy just had a really good match. I really enjoyed it, had a lot of fun with it. But just a little disappointing because I'm a big fan of Sami Callihan. I thought this match would be a little better. AR Fox, Rich Swann. This was a fucking exhibition match. This was like the 4-way match at Enter the Dragon last year, which was just an all-out spot fest. This was just straight spots. Start to finish, 8 minutes, spot, spot, spot. And the spots were amazing, too. This is just like a flat-out exhibition. It was just like Jack Evans, the best example, Jack Evans versus Teddy Hart. Obviously, from Final Battle 2009. Obviously, those spots were a little better, but this was exactly like that. It was an actual match with an actual referee, and I enjoyed it. I gave it 3 stars. Fucking sue me. I don't care. The crowd really liked it, too. So, yeah, I enjoyed that match. Next, we got Chuck Taylor versus Akira Tozawa. I really liked this match. I think this is the one match that I liked a lot more than the reports said. I really enjoyed this match. I know what it was. Maybe it's just because I'm a huge Akira Tozawa fan and I'm a huge Chuck Taylor fan, too. I thought they both just worked really well. And the way Akira Tozawa presents himself with the way he does the 2 suicide dives, and he is like Eddie Kingston and Masato Yoshino. They both employ that storyline of, and Jon Moxley, which we'll get to at the end of the show. You cannot fucking put me down. Like, he literally, this guy takes it to the extreme. He gets knocked down, gets right back up, and does like a suicide dive. Like, this guy literally, and it works for him. It's a great way to wrestle, and this was a really good match. I really enjoyed it. Then they did a post-match angle where Johnny Gargano came out because Johnny Gargano and Chuck Taylor both won. They were both 5-2. And they did an angle saying, okay, well, now you got two got to fight now, and the winner becomes the wins leader and Evolve. And I'm not going to spoil it, but I just thought it was really good. I thought it came off really well, and it builds to a future heel turn by one of the two guys. Well, I guess one of them kind of already was heel, but still, like, they really emphasized it here. Main event. Austin Aries, Jon Moxley. This was a great match in my opinion. It was a really good match, but again, like the El Generico Claudio match, I loved the storyline here. I absolutely loved the storyline here. This is one of those matches where I still think about it. Like this, I saw the whole show yesterday, and I'm still thinking about that match. I thought that match just was really, really good, and they had great action. Moxley was kind of facing this match because this was his last match before going to the WWE. I believe I have to check that. But he worked over Aries. Aries made a lot of great comeback. Then he started working over Moxley, and he could not put Moxley down. Like I'm going to spoil this one because I really liked the way it came off. And obviously, you didn't think Austin Aries was losing to Jon Moxley in Jon Moxley's last match, but the way it worked, like Moxley would not go down, and Aries just kept trying to kill him, and it got kind of overkill even at one point. Like Aries even did the Brainbuster, the 450, and Moxley kicked out. I jumped out of my chair when that happened. I did not expect Moxley to kick out of that. And then Aries gave him 3 missile drop kicks to the corner in a row. And Moxley said, "Is that the best you can fucking do?" Then he hit Germans and submissions. He was destroying Moxley. Like it did kind of go a little overboard, but like he was destroying Jon Moxley. But Jon Moxley would not be defeated. He basically told Aries, "You can't knock me down. You can't do that. I'm too tough. I'll just keep getting back up." And so what happened was Moxley went for a sunset flip, and Aries sat down in the sunset flip and pinned him right there. Now, I know some people aren't going to like that. They're going to say, oh, the finish came out of nowhere. Oh, the crowd wouldn't have popped as large for the finish as they would have for the 450. But to me, it built into the story perfectly. It's like Aries thought, okay, I can't knock you down, so I'm going to out-wrestle you. And he was smart. He wasn't tougher than Jon Moxley. He was smarter than Jon Moxley. And he pinned him in the roll-up, and Jon Moxley could not escape from that because he didn't see it coming. And I really liked it. I don't know why. It was great. Well, I know why, because it was great. It built into the story perfectly. He couldn't knock Moxley down, so Aries went the roll-up, and that's what it took. That's something as simple as that. He just had to be smarter than Moxley to beat him. And even though I'm not that big of a fan of PS Power, he did make a good point in his WrestleMania video. A point that I can, even though I thought the Undertaker Triple H match was awesome, I could sympathize with him, where he said, Triple H should realize, hey, these pedigrees aren't working. Let me try something else. But no, he kept doing the same thing throughout the match, and he got beat. And it made Triple H look bad. Well, I don't totally agree. I can kind of see where he's coming from. Like, Triple H, what you're doing isn't working. Go somewhere else. And Aries realized, okay, what I'm doing isn't working. I can't just keep trying to kill this guy. And so he tried to out-wrestle him, and he succeeded, and that's how he finally was able to beat Moxley. I don't know, I really loved it. And I gave the match 4 stars because of it. And the whole show I thought was great. You have a great match, a really, really good match, a pretty good, and some other good matches. So a very good match between Sami Callihan and Sabre, a pretty good match between Gargano and Davis, 2 fun spot fests, 2 all-right opening matches. This was a great show. I really enjoyed it. Had a little bit of everything. Definitely I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Definitely worth the money. I'll put the link in the description box. Go order the show. I thought it was a great show, and I thought it was well worth the money. WWN Live is a million times better than Go Fight Live as far as replays go. My computer always fucking sucks on Go Fight Live. I always have a problem. I think 9th Anniversary Show was the only show where I had no problems. But for this show and for Mercury Rising, it was very easy. It was just in and out. I really enjoyed it. And so, yeah, definitely I do recommend checking the show out. I thought it was a great show. I thought it was worth the $15. I thought it was the 3rd or 2nd best Evolve show ever. I don't think it was as good as Evolve 4, but it's up there with Evolve 3. It could even be better than Evolve 3. It definitely was easier to sit through. The show is also pretty short. The show is like 2.5 hours long, but that includes like a 30-minute intermission, so it's only like 2 hours long. So it's short, it's easy to sit through, and it's enjoyable. I give it an 8 out of 10. Definitely recommended. Alright, I know I said I would cut myself off at 35 minutes. I'm going to have to cut myself off at 40 minutes. I know for sure I can finish this thing in 40 minutes. So, sorry. Shimmer Volume 36. This show was a really good show. This was my first taste of Shimmer. After hearing Dave Prazak and Allison Danger's interview with Dave Lagana on IWantWrestling.com about Shimmer, I thought, hey, you know what? Let me give Shimmer a chance. Let me at least buy a show. I was between this and Shimmer 35. Only because Shimmer 35, someone, I forget who, I think it's the guy that uploads a bunch of Japanese matches. Someone uploaded a Shimmer 35 highlight video package, and I really enjoyed it. Like, it made the show look awesome. But this show had a better card. It has a not quit match, it had an elimination match, it had a tag team title match. It looked like something I would enjoy more. And it was good. The opener was whatever. It's between two girls who I believe are very young, very rookie. They're both rookies, so it wasn't much to it, but I still thought it was alright. Nikki Rocks, Mercedes Martinez, I thought it was a fun match, just a little too short. Alright, Leva Bates, Cat Power, Jessica James, Veronica Vice, and Nevaeh versus Athena, I all thought were pretty much the same match. The heel worked over the face made a comeback, yeah, it's over, very short. Not much to it. I barely remember any of those matches, so I don't want to talk about any of those three. Misaki Ohata versus Kelly Skater. This was good. I enjoyed this, probably because Misaki Ohata was in there. But this was fun. I enjoyed it. Good stuff. Then we got Portia Perez and Nicole Matthews versus Jessie McKay and Tenille. I think that's her name is. Tenille, if it's Spanish. This was really fun. Portia Perez and Nicole Matthews have a good gimmick. They worked over Jessie. They worked over Tenille. They made a good comeback. It was a really fun tag match. I really enjoyed myself. So 3 1/4. Rachel Summerlin versus Daphne. This was a really good match. They had a very nice video package before the match. Like a good 6-minute video package. From just clips from previous Shimmer shows explaining the feud between these two, which I thought was amazing. Even in Ring of Honor, you wouldn't see something like that. Like we saw it at Final Battle, but those video packages were all over HDNet. Like you don't see Ring of Honor putting video packages trying to explain the history between a feud for a newcomer. I had no idea why these girls were fighting, and by the end of this video package, I was legitimately invested into this match because I knew the story, I knew who was heel, I knew who was babyface, and I wanted to see someone win. So that I thought was really good. And the match I thought was fun. I give it 3 1/2. Maybe it was probably 3 1/4, but the video package and the fact that I had a little more emotion in the match made me bump it up. It was a good I Quit match. Good. They were a little brutal at one point, but yeah, nothing too crazy. But still a lot of fun. Then we get the 8-woman elimination tag match. That job was great. I love this match partly because there was so much fun. There was a lot of good finishers, a lot of great high-flying spots. Even a few Chikara spots were in this match. This match literally had a little bit of everything. And it had a lot of great women talent. So, 4 stars from me. Just Ayumi Kurihara and Tomoko Nakagawa, you might remember from the Ring of Honor Atlanta shows. Those two were in both those shows, I believe. I don't know if Nakagawa was in night 1. For sure, she and Kurihara were in night 2. And Hamada's in this match, and Serena Deeb, and Cheerleader Melissa, who's Raisha Saeed, if you don't know. Madison Eagles, Sarah Del Rey, Daisy Hayes. It was a great match. I'm not going to lie. I just had a lot of fun with this. I like this match more than the Lethal Lockdown match. And I don't want to knock on the Lethal Lockdown match because I really did like that match. But I like this match more than that. So, yeah, great match from these girls. Calamity versus Sweet Cherry. Yeah, that was whatever. All right, now we get to the shoots. I'm going to try and make this one quick. Timeline history of Ivory in 2001. This was good. Barely good, I would probably say. You know, it was all right. Kind of enjoyable. Ivory, I don't know. When they do these timeline history, most of the time I legitimately learn something. And maybe because this was 2001, this was right around the time I started watching wrestling, I didn't really get much out of this. Ivory's good. I like Ivory. I don't know. I don't think she would have been the best choice for this one though. And I don't have a problem with Ivory. I really do like Ivory. Not to knock on this. This was good. This was a good use of 2 hours. Me personally, I always watch shoot interviews when I'm doing my math homework. Probably because my math homework is usually really long. But I always watch these shoot interviews while I'm doing my math homework. And this was a good time spent. Just really enjoyable. I really loved it. So, well, not really loved it. I liked it. You know, I didn't think it was bad. I don't want to crap on it too much. Let's just say there's a reason I didn't order this immediately when it first came out. Usually when kayfabe releases something like this, I order them immediately. This one I kind of waited a little bit. I was like, you know what? I don't need to see this right away. It was still good, though. Yushu Sabu was very good. It's exactly what you'd expect. I know some people didn't like it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was very good. Sabu was a fun guy to listen to. He told some good stories. I liked it. Guest booker with Al Snow. This was a great guest booker, partly because the first hour is Al Snow talking about wrestling and psychology, and he does a great job with it. My problem was the title is a little confusing. Basically, guest booking today's wrestling in the Attitude Era. And nothing about his booking made you think you were in the Attitude Era. His booking was great, but I didn't see the Attitude Era part of it. I mean, I don't know how you exactly influenced that. Maybe you have characters who curse a lot. I don't know. But I couldn't really, to me, it just felt like, okay, this is a great job. But I don't feel like I'm in the Attitude Era. I feel like I'm just watching wrestling. So, but I still thought it was very good because what he said was really good. He's a very knowledgeable man about the business. I just thought that, you know, the title's a little misleading. If you want to see more about the Attitude Era, well, it doesn't really provide you that. But it's still good stuff. And finally, I know it's 40 minutes already, but Jericho's book, fucking great. Actually, I really enjoyed this. I'm just going to put amazing. I'm not going to put fucking great. Amazing. Not as... I thought it was on par with his first one because his first book, I bought it because I want to see, I want to see what Jericho says. Because I buy this book more to see the backstage stuff on their feuds, on Vince McMahon, on the wrestlers, on the programs, inside stuff that I didn't already know. And his first book, while it was awesome, his first book didn't even mention WWE. It was about the beginning of his career. And I'm watching this backstage stuff on WCW, and I'm like, this is interesting, but I wasn't really watching at the time, so I'm not as emotionally invested in it as I would be. This book, it was all about WWE. It was all about his frustrations at times, and in a way, it was kind of sad, because it ends with him leaving the WWE, and ends right when he feels like he's not being used properly. Like, if this ended yesterday, and he mentions his 2008, 2009 period where he was like a main eventer and he was a rock star and he was used very well. If it ended with that, you would feel like, hey, man, this poor guy got his due. Instead, it just kind of ends and you're like, wow, man, this guy was poorly untreated even while he was champion. And there was no upside. It just stays that way for the last 3 years of his career. You kind of feel bad for him. But knowing what happens later, his third book, which I'm definitely going to get, that makes me feel better inside. But yeah, it's great to hear his commentary on the WWE. One of my friends, Next Big Thing, made a good point. He really does make Vince McMahon and Triple H look bad. He makes Vince McMahon look like an incompetent idiot. And I don't think he means to. It's the way it comes off. It's the way it sounds like when Vince McMahon says this stuff to him. And yeah, awesome book. I definitely recommend it. I don't know if I've talked about it already. I finished the book like 2 months ago. I just wanted to include it here so I wouldn't forget. So yeah, definitely an amazing book. Pick it up. It's on par with his first, so I couldn't decide which one was better. The Fozzy commentary, I didn't mind. I know some people really hated it. They thought it really detracted from the book. I didn't care. Like, half the book is about him talking about his band, just letting you know. But I was fine with that. I found it kind of interesting. He tells some funny stories. So yeah, also my Twitter. This is my Twitter account, BigRat310. The other one, BigRat310, spelled out like my YouTube name, is a fake. And I don't have a problem with the guy who did it. Hey, that's what he wants to do. Whatever. I really don't care. I don't have a problem with anybody in life, really. But I'm just letting you guys know if you're following that account, this is my real account. This, BigRat310, just like my Skype name. I know it's kind of confusing with my YouTube username, but this is my real account, all right? BigRat310. And yeah, this video went way too long. I first set a time limit for 35 minutes, then I set it for 40 minutes, and now it's 43 minutes. But whatever. I'm BigRat310, AMC and 1. I promise you a video response soon. I'm tired. My voice hurts. I shouldn't talk this long. I'm out. See ya.